Another issue that arose in that OPW correspondence was around properties that the OPW has in Phoenix Park. Now, they said that they own 55 properties in the Phoenix Park. I didn't really think there were that many properties in the Phoenix Park, but 36 of those are occupied by people who are, largely paying rent. They are people who work for the OPW or who had worked for the OPW and retired. Some of them were rented out to Gardaí, close to Garda headquarters in the Phoenix Park. One of them was the little cottage in the zoo, in Dublin Zoo. And the other seemed to be OPW staff or people working for what was Ordnance Survey Ireland. And there seems to be some arrangements in place where those civil servants can live in the property. They're saying it was part of their work arrangements that they were required to live there. But there was an issue that arose around retired people who are no longer working, or perhaps their widowed spouses still living in the properties. And it appears that the rent for all of this is particularly low. It's sums amounting between around €600 to around €1,400 per year.
Per year.
So they're almost living in these places probably more or less free of charge, And it says the decisions for those who are retired or deceased are made on a case-by-case basis, sometimes on compassionate grounds. But nonetheless, Sinn Féin is describing this as a sort of nod and wink culture where there's these kind of what they're saying nod and wink arrangements in place between the OPW and either staff or former staff living in properties as they would see it in the beautiful, lush surrounds of the Phoenix Park, next door to the President and the American ambassador.
Next door to the President. €600 a year does seem very low, but I suppose this kind of came from the story last year about Drew Harris, who was living in the Phoenix Park, and rent that the Gardaí were paying to the OPW as well. So it was kind of off the back of that. We don't have a detailed breakdown, though, of each property. I think there was some detail about the number of properties that were vacant, which also I think Sinn Féin is saying isn't acceptable in this day and age. I think people paying very, very low rent to them won't be acceptable, as well as the vacant rent.